Good afternoon everybody. Today I'm just going to show you how to draw a simple daffodil. Now I've got one here that has just come out of my garden. I've got it in a pot and I'm just going to show you quickly over here. This is a really simple guide on how to draw a daffodil using basic shapes. I hope you can see that and it's not too out of focus. There we go. So you can take a screenshot of that if you want to. This daffodil here is facing downwards, so it's going to be slightly different to the one on the screen, but the principles are the same. Okay, so I'm just going to go down to my sketchbook here, which is on my lap, and hopefully try and draw this lovely daffodil. So I've got A4 cartridge paper here. You need cartridge paper. It's got a slight tooth on it. It's slightly rough and that grips the lead better. You also need a 2B pencil. Okay, so a 2B is ideal for any kind of sketching, rough sketching onto watercolour paper, etc. It's not too soft and it's not too hard. Okay, so anything that has a B written after it, so 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, etc, etc, is a soft pencil, and it gets softer the higher the number. Anything with an H written after it means hard, so a 2H, 3H, 4H, etc. The H would denote, again, the higher number would denote it getting harder. So you don't want a hard pencil because you can't smudge it, and with sketching you want to be able to smudge it if you want to when you're shading. Okay, so I've got a 2B pencil and I've also got a sharpener and a rubber available just in case. Excuse me. So here is the daffodil head again, and as you can see it's got a very simple bell structure in the middle. So I'm just going to think of it in shape form. So the stem comes up and over in a bend like so, and if you continue the line, because the flower head hangs almost straight actually, and then you've got a slight bulb shape here, and then there is a tube shape like so, and that comes down to an open-ended bell shape like so. Okay, that's the inside of the flower head. From around here we've got a petal projecting outwards. So again, the benefit of having the interior bell shape on your drawing is so that you know that you're not oversizing things. So the other petal comes down and more in a sort of oval like so, not oval, teardrop shape. We have one petal going out behind. It's important that you put the ones in the distance in, just to give it a feeling of 3-dimension. And then we've got one single petal projecting towards us like so. So I'm making that petal slightly larger, slightly longer rather, than the rest, because it's projecting towards us. As you can see here, you can see it's slightly lower down in the shape than the others. So you've got this one here slightly higher than this one here, because this one is projecting forwards towards you. Okay, So there we have the basic drawing of the daffodil. Now I can see from my picture, from my actual daffodil, that on my sketch my bell shape in the middle is slightly too big. So I'm just going to reduce it down ever so slightly like this, and I'm going to rub out the rest. So here I've got a normal rubber here. It's a bit dirty, sorry. This will do nicely for rubbing out anything on cartridge paper, but if you're using watercolour paper, please use a putty rubber and get rid of the marks. Mainly because the putty rubber is much softer and therefore will not mark your paper. Sorry, that's a little bit dirty. I'm just going to rub out the dirty. That was the result of a dirty rubber. So again, I'll put that petal back in. Let's try and get it back in focus, shall we? So put the petal back in, like so. Put that petal back in and draw the bell shape of the daffodil head back in. And again, we've got the one that we can just about see poking out the back there, like that. So again, I'm just going to put some finer details in. Remember the bulbous section there, and that goes up and into the stem. However, we have the case, the flower head case coming out from, and actually another flower, because this is a double daffodil. So we're just going to put the double in, and that's not quite open yet, that's why it is the way it is. And then the casing of the flower head goes to about there, and then that's where the stem begins. So there you have it. There's a very simple daffodil form. Now if you're thinking about doing a little bit of shading, then the top part where the swollen area is slightly darker than the rest, and obviously that will turn into the stem, which is slightly darker. And if you squint with your eyes, you're able to see the different tones on an object. So you can see if you squint that the stem is much darker than the rest of the flower. So however, this section here is slightly lighter than this section, so that's darker. Draw a little sort of U shape there, that'll make the form look curved, and then this is slightly lighter. And what happens with the daffodil head at the top, it will go darker here and lighter as it projects out into the petal. And also we've got some very fine lines coming down the petal as it comes down to the tip, and also we have some darker areas, so this will come up and join that petal there. Under here would be darker. Oh, is it out of focus? Come on, focus, right, like so. And then again getting progressively lighter as it comes down to the bottom. So again, these are really light, so keep your shading nice and light. Right, so again on this side, nice and light, nice and light. However, on the petal there is also different tones. So I can see on the left hand side of this petal it's slightly darker than on the right, so I'm just going to put a little darker section down there. I can also see Let's have a look at the original again. I can also see that this petal here is slightly darker at the tip than it is at the top, and that's because that's catching the light. So the light is being caught here, and this section down here is slightly darker than the top. And the same on this petal, we've got some slightly darker shadow just coming down here. Okay, so there are several ways of shading. There's just the general sort of up and down shading like so. Yeah, and then there's what they call cross hatching. So we've got, you go in diagonals like that, and then you change the angle of your pencil, then you go in the opposite direction, and that's called cross hatching. So effectively you're creating marks that go across one another. So again, like so. And that will help you to make areas much darker than the rest. So like I said, if this area is not dark enough, then you can cross hatch to make it darker, like so. Don't forget, we've got the paper here, which is slightly darker than the rest also. Okay, there it is. Have a go at drawing a daffodil while they're out. See how you get on and share some of your pictures. Hope you enjoyed that, and see you again soon.